Welcome back to Life with Ashley. This video is going to be about Cuba again because if you don't know, I'm on a world tour and I go to a country every month, and I recently went to Cuba. And when I went to Cuba, everybody was like asking all these questions and all these tips because everybody thinks it's a travel ban on Cuba, but it's really not. So this video is going to be tips and advice for when you go to Cuba, and also really fun facts because Cuba is an amazing country and is very underrated. So yeah, after this video, if you haven't seen the Cuba vlog that I posted earlier this week, click the link in the description and make sure you follow my Instagram because I also have highlights of all the countries that I've been to, and you can go watch them and all the countries I've been to, how many, and everything, where I'm going next. Everything can be found on my Instagram, and I have all these travel vlogs, my playlist, you know. So yeah, let's get started. For starters, I have my Cuba shirt on, okay? I'm repping, and I have my More Life hat. This is my travel group. Follow my travel group, new trip dropping soon. Okay, let's get into it. So, how can I get into Cuba? Yes, there was a travel ban. You know, we couldn't get into Cuba, but it was because of the government, not. First, you do need a visa. You can do it two ways. You can order it online, and I will have that link in the description. And it comes in like 2 days. You have to pay $100 plus $10 for shipping. Or you can get it right before you get on the flight at the airport. You know, I'm kind of nervous, you know. So I was like, you know, we need to get ours ahead of time. I flew on American Airlines. American Airlines, if you get it at the gate, it's $100. So I'm like, you know what? I might as well pay that $10 extra for shipping, and then I also feel safe. So I did it online. But if you're flying like Delta, sometimes Delta's visa at the airport was $50. So I was like, you know, get that at the gate and just get there early. So it really just depends on what you want to do, because I know the people that were getting it at the gate, they were like rushing, trying to fill it out and stuff. You know, I like to just get it early and I'll be good to go. Then all you need is your passport. Now, when you go to Cuba, you can't just go for a vacation or they'll turn you around. They're gonna ask you like, why do you wanna go? I would suggest saying support for the Cuban people. That's what we said. If you say something else, you might not get in, to be honest. So we did support for the Cuban people, and we did give back to the Cuban people. But nonetheless, you need to get your visa, have your passport, and you just say support for the Cuban people. And your visa is only good for 30 days. So I would say get it 2 weeks before your trip. But it only takes 2 days to come. Like, one of us ordered it literally the week of. Next, where should you stay? Now, I am a local type of girl. I like staying in the local area. So we stayed in Old Havana, which is like Cabana. I would say not the real tourist area. And I loved it because I literally had the most authentic culture experience, like literally. So yeah, we stayed there, and I have an Airbnb discount. I will leave that link in the description. You get $55 off when you book your Airbnb, so that'll be good for you guys, you know, make your Airbnb a little cheaper. And now you can stay in a local area, New Havana, where all the touristy stuff is and all that stuff. You know, you can go there and stay there, but you know, I just like being with the locals. I like the real experience, and I was with guys, so I felt very, very safe. Some other places that you can check out while in Cuba, they have the Venado Beach. And all the places and suggestions that everybody talked about that we did go to, we didn't go to, I'll leave in the description. But they have the Venado Beach area you can go to that's like 2 hours from Havana. I would say, you know, spend like 5 days in Cuba. You know, one day take a day trip to the beach. We didn't get to do that, but they said it's amazing. You can go to Vinales. That's another city in Cuba. You can go horseback riding and stuff. That's the only 2 things we really didn't get to do. But I would definitely suggest staying in Havana, then taking day trips to those 2 places. How much money did we bring? First of all, for starters, they don't take credit cards, so do not bring a card. Like, don't bring a card. at the airport or wherever, get you some cash, regular cash. Then when you land in Cuba, they're gonna have the exchange machines. And what you do is, I would exchange like your immediate needs, because you're gonna need for taxi or whatever. So I would exchange like $80, because first of all, they take so much out. Like they take $10. They take $10 just for using the machine. So I would, you know, just exchange like immediate money that you need just to get to your Airbnb. Then when you get to your Airbnb, your host can go on the street and get you a better exchange rate. And you're gonna need CUC, that's the currency. So yeah, don't try to convert it in America, because that's not gonna happen. You have to just bring your cash, do it in the airport, quick little, get your immediate cash. Then when you get to your Airbnb host, he'll go on the street and he'll exchange it for you. Or if you're smart, that kind of thing, you can kind of do it by yourself, but don't get ripped off. Yeah, and Cuba, to me, it was not expensive. I only spent $250 and I was there 4 days. Yes, granted, I was there with guys though, so you know, they kind of take care of a lot of things. But all in all, it just really wasn't that expensive. Like for instance, the type of excursions we did was the vintage car tour, and it was like $35 an hour, but it was like all together. So we did it for like 6 hours. We only had to put in like 20 something a piece. That's really cheap for excursions. You get what I'm saying? Meals kind of was like, when you go eat, you're kind of paying like 15 to 20, and that's only because like every time you eat, you get a drink, a mojito. They're very known for mojitos. They love mojitos. You get a mojito, you get rice and beans with your meal every time, no matter if you don't even want it. That was pretty common. And then so you kind of eat that as a group, and you have your own individual meal, and they put everything together on the tab. So you kind of like, you know, your tip or whatever, you're leaving 15 to 20 every time you eat. But the food was pretty good. And then they come and they do live performances. So you also kind of feel the need to tip. You always feel the need to tip with the Cuban people, because one, you're kind of there to support them. They're very poor. Like the guy told me, when he was working for the government, he only made like $40 a month. So you kind of want to help out, and they overextend themselves. Like they do what you like pay for them to do, then they just do it more. Like our guy, he was only supposed to drive with us for 3 hours, and he ended up driving with us for 6 hours. Oh, then we got one guy to take us to like all the gyms to eat, because Cuban food can be a hit or miss. You can either love it or you can either hate it if you don't go to the right places. So we got a, you know, authentic Cuban guy, and he took us around to the places that we need to eat and see. Like he took us to the Florida, La Bogota, and we ended up buying his food there also, because like he took us to some really good places, and he didn't have to like go in, but you know, he did. They overextend their stuff. Wi-Fi. So when you go to Cuba, you can like kiss your family and friends goodbye. I knew this going in, and I was kind of happy. I was ready to disconnect and not have to talk to anybody. The only thing I hated is that I wasn't gonna be able to put my content out until I got back, and I hate doing that because I like to post my pictures, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, so there's no Wi-Fi. There's not even no regular signal, even if you have the international plan. You can make emergency calls, but it's like $3 a minute. So you can kind of like, you know, get all your stuff together, tell your friends, you know, you're gonna be gone. They have Wi-Fi cards, but they barely work. Like Sean and Day, they were using Wi-Fi cards looking like social media addicts, like trying to be in the corner flipping the meter over, and it wasn't working. And I was like, you know what, I'm just going to freaking talk to everybody when I get home, okay? Even if your Airbnb says Wi-Fi, it probably won't even work. Like our Airbnb said free Wi-Fi or whatever, that thing didn't even work, but I didn't care. We was living in the moment. How safe is Cuba? So Cuba was very safe. Now ladies, the men, they will stare. They love us there. They really do love us there. They will stare, but they don't really do anything. I don't know if it's because I was with the guys or not, but but even if the guys are with you, like they will still stare. Like when we got there, like they was looking at me like I was Beyonce. But I felt very safe. Like walking down the streets at night, we felt very safe. Now when it gets to like 5 a.m., the guys did try to go out, and I went to sleep because I was tired. The guys tried to go out, and one of the locals that we had met at a club that ended up being really cool with us, showing us around, he was like, oh, I own these streets. He told us like, you know, okay, go back. He told the guys, okay, go back inside. It's not a good time to be out. And also a little pre-warning, at night, they do have sex workers out, and you know, they try to sell themselves. You know, the guy said one guy was trying to even like sell his sister. That's kind of like what they do. But we did feel very safe. I I mean, one of the first safest instances was when we first got there, we stumbled upon this little neighborhood in a little corner, and one of the Cuban families invited us up, and I was like, what? Like, you guys can see all this in the vlog. The vlog is in the description. I was like, what? Go upstairs, and I looked at the guys, and I was like, oh, let's go. Because I'm so down for that local raw experience. And we went up there, and she treated us, so she poured us up some rum. That's kind of like, you know, when you go to somebody's house and they say, oh, you want some water? The Cubans, like, oh, they're trying to pour that Havana rum up. And I'm talking no chaser. And everybody was so sweet. We met the grandma, we met kids, the cousins, the babies. And nobody really speaks English in Cuba, so by the end of the trip I was very good at like little things like communicating. I'm getting so good, and they literally show hospitality out of their hearts that when we came back and we tried to give them $100 US, which is a lot to them, the lady, the grandma, she just kept trying to get it back. She's like, no, we do stuff from our hearts. And I'm like, we're like, no, take it. We gave somebody some shoes, we gave the kids like, you know, like little $5, and I gave them some hygiene products. And I was trying to tell them that it was already used, but they needed it so bad that they didn't even care, so I just wiped it off and stuff like that. And I'm just gonna miss that family, and they told us if we ever come back to come visit them, and it was just so sweet. And we seen them like throughout the whole trip because like we were literally in the local area. So yeah, when you go, you're gonna want to like give back. Now, random people on the street, like somebody asked Sean to like switch his shirt. Our driver was like, you know, you don't have to do stuff like that. So some people do try to con you, but like we knew the Cuban family, like they didn't even ask for anything, and they did so much for us. So when we came back, we was like, definitely like, we got you. Also, I'm gonna suggest some apps that you should download. You can download Google Translator offline. Make sure you download the Spanish version before you go. You can download maps. You can kind of get around. Triposo, like different Cuba apps that you can see like where to eat and stuff like that. I will put the Airbnb that I stayed at also, but just know it's in a local area. But to me, it's safe. I definitely would go with like, I wouldn't go with more than 5 people, because when you get in a vintage, you want to be in a vintage car tour together, because part of the experience is like riding together. I wouldn't do a solo trip there though, but I would do it with another girl. But yeah, so, and also what I know about the Cubans, a lot of them have never been out the country and stuff. Like, we would talk to them and they would be like, oh, they never been as far as Cuba and stuff. And I was just like, oh my gosh, like, and it's crazy. But I loved Cuba. It was so beautiful. Even the parts that, like, you know, were kind of like, I guess you would say poverty, it was still beautiful. They were so nice. It was like it's like definitely my top 5 favorite country. I'm so glad we went. And the flights were actually cheap. Out of Florida, the flights be cheap. You know, my discount flight, I only had to pay $60 for my flight, but everybody else's flights were very cheap. Even Justin's out of Atlanta was like 300 something. It's very cheap to fly there. Also, about the culture, all the family, like, they tend to live together. So like, it's like, you know how with us, like, you know, you move out, no, they stay and they build together, and they say rent is not really a thing there. I don't know how it works, but they don't have to pay like rent and stuff. I really didn't understand how that works, you know, because it's hard to understand because they pretty much speak in Spanish all the time. But yeah, so those are my Cuba tips, hack, advice. How did we get there? Any other questions you could leave in the comments. I'm better at replying to comments than DMs, because DMs be so much nonsense, like really just be a mess. So yeah, and I'm so excited. Next country is actually this weekend coming up. Next week, going to Jamaica, and I'm going back to Spanish country, Colombia. And you guys are like, probably like, she's doing all this traveling and the virus. I need to do a vlog on that. Y'all want to see a vlog on that? Like this video. Make sure you follow my Instagram, follow my travel group, subscribe, new videos coming, and go look at my Instagram pictures and all that stuff. But okay, guys, I love Cuba. Don't mean that disrespect, but arms of you rule my